Alrighty guys, hi, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day today. As always, if you're new here or returning and you haven't yet already, be sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. And as always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section. I will try my best to see you there. So this video is just going to be get ready with me. And I am going to kind of talk about some things that I think people are getting lost in as far as the internet goes. I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video yet, but we're going to be getting ready and talking about some serious stuff, in my opinion. So I want to start off by saying everything I talk about is going to be my opinions on the matter, how I think things are going, and I encourage you to leave your comments, your concerns, anything that you have experienced, whether it be personally or what you have observed online, in the comment section below. I am going to be moving around and looking off to the side while I'm doing my makeup. If that's a distraction to you, I apologize. Maybe just listen and not watch, but if you enjoy makeup videos, then it might be entertaining for you to watch. So, I have been talking about in my live streams lately how I have noticed people are spending more and more time online due to everything going on in the world. I mean, it's no secret that COVID is happening and that COVID is literally affecting everybody around the world. And there have been multiple stay-at-home orders put in place. There have been lockdowns put in place. There have been actions taken by local and official governments to try and retain the spread of COVID since the outbreak earlier this year, understandably so. However, with that, what has come is people are either not working any longer or they are working from home, both of which are giving the average person, in my opinion, more time to browse the internet, to utilize social media. So I feel like with everything going on, people are maybe not being fully aware of how much time they are really spending online and consuming social media. And when I'm saying social media, I don't just mean YouTube. I mean Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MySpace if you still have one, TikTok, all of these platforms which are easily accessible and you can access them at any time. I mean, that kind of is the same thing. You can access it at any time. They're easy to use. They're easy to function. I personally have seen people come onto my channel who have stated, you know, they're new to YouTube, and the reason that they're new is because of COVID and being at home or on stay-at-home orders, they have ventured out into this app. Now, with that, I am not saying that those particular individuals who have ever said that or people who have commented that are going to fall into the category of awareness I kind of want to bring to everybody. And that is the fact that I really think with the stay-at-home orders, with people having more freedom and access to social media, more so than before, because whether they were working or they were out in the community and now they can't be, whatever the reason may be, I feel like there is a large majority of people, myself included at times, where we are not checking ourselves in our screen time in relation to social media. I feel like it has become almost something that we don't even acknowledge, that we are just consuming copious amounts of internet. Whether that, and I mean social media in the terms of like the platforms I have mentioned, not so much like news articles and things like that. There are productive ways of the internet. There's educational things through the internet. That's how some schools have been able to maintain and operate. I'm talking about the frivolous kind of social media where it's just time consuming. Is some of it educational? Absolutely. I am pretty sure not every single person who have multiple social media platforms are only participating in social media in an educational way. Not every person. Can I acknowledge that there are probably a few people who are only using internet for that reason? Yeah, I can see that. But I think the majority of people who are on these stay-at-home orders and are working from home or spending more time at home, they are not fully acknowledging the amount of time that they are dedicating to social media. And the problem I see that causing is I see that causing a problem as far as like human interaction goes. If your state or your governor or whoever puts in place a lockdown and states, you know, you can't leave your house, you need to stay home, of course the internet can be a place to help still have that human interaction to some degree, right? But what I'm concerned about, and let me know if you're concerned about the same thing, I am kind of concerned that people are maybe consuming so much internet that they are almost forgetting, or I don't want to say neglecting because that's such a serious and harsh term, but that they are not realizing the lack of communication they're having with maybe their family or their friends, that because they are staying at home and they are consuming so much internet, that they are not maintaining those relationships that they would if they still could see these people, if they could still, hang out with them or whatever they do before, like pre-COVID, what they would do on the regular. So that's one of my largest concerns with this whole people staying home, is that people are just really focusing on entertainment for themselves, and they are getting caught up in the entertainment of whether that be YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. They find a few creators that they really enjoy, and they're spending all of their time watching that creator, seeing what that creator is doing, and they're not really checking themselves to see, have I called my children? Have I called my parents? Have I checked on everybody within the last week, 2 weeks? And I'm not trying to project that everybody needs to call their family that often, but if you were previous to COVID checking in with your family on a weekly or a bi-weekly, even monthly basis, and now you haven't, I really want people to be able to introspect and see, are they forgetting just because they are getting lost in the space of social media? I've had this conversation. I'm not saying I'm innocent in any of this. I have had to really reel myself back in. I am a newer creator. I've only had my channel, I believe, since May. And there was a brief time when I started gaining subscribers that I started to neglect a lot of my personal life. I started to neglect calling my family. I recently moved away from them, and I was talking to them regularly. And when I started to engulf myself with being a creator, I, for like a week, didn't even realize I wasn't spending any time with my husband, which in turn meant I wasn't spending as much time with my animals because my husband was taking care of them, and I wasn't calling the family members I would typically call on a regular basis because I felt a need to continue to create content for my subscribers. And I was doing it in an unhealthy way. I do work a full-time job. For all of those who are new to my channel, I work 40 hours every week in a job outside of my house within the community. I have a husband and dogs that I take care of daily. So I was kind of neglecting some of those duties to film content and to go live at times and to, build this community up and make sure I was supporting my subscribers. And I luckily was able to catch myself. This went on for about a week, maybe two. I caught myself in doing these things. I was sitting on our couch, and I just looked at my husband and I was like, man, I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while. And he's like, well, you really kind of haven't. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, we had a little conversation about it, and he wasn't mad at me by any means. If it was bothering him, he would have definitely acknowledged it. That's the kind of relationship we have. We've been married for almost 9 years. So, we're really open with each other. So he would have told me if it was really affecting him, but it wasn't at that time. However, if I think it had progressed, I do think he would have started to have an issue and maybe even resent the fact that I created this YouTube. He is supportive of it and happy that, we're getting to where we're going, and like we are building a very positive, healthy community here, but I can't lose sight of my life. I can't lose sight of my real life. It never has really interfered with my job, but I was allowing it. That's the thing. I was allowing it to kind of overtake my personal life without even really acknowledging it. Like, if I hadn't have had that few seconds of self-awareness to like look over and be like, man, I don't feel like I've talked to you very much, I would not have been able to realize that I was not spending time with my family. I was getting caught up in feeling the need to create content and to continue working. I was starting to work an unhealthy amount, because YouTube is a job. It is time consuming to be a creator. No matter what kind of content you are creating, it's time consuming. I'm not going to say it's hard, but it is time consuming to sit in front of a camera, which is something you have to adjust to anyways, and then doing it and making sure you're getting your thoughts across, and then going through the editing process, which we all know my editing is crap. I'm working on it. But I still try. I still am putting forth the time to try and edit my content, make it more easy to digest and to understand like what my point is that I'm getting across. And I think a lot of creators have maybe fallen into this slightly. I have seen some creators who have, bumped up the amount of time that they are online, the amount that they are uploading has maybe increased, or some people who have already had like a solid schedule are maintaining those schedules. But I never was really working from home during any of this. When I kind of caught myself in this situation where I was consuming and trying to be online too much. So I can't imagine if I didn't acknowledge that. I'm sure it would have ended up in some kind of argument with my husband. Also, I'm relating that to like the general viewer, because if you are watching copious amounts, I want people to maybe take a step back and think when the last time was that you talked to the person you used to talk to on a regular basis. If it's been a while, and then you really try and step outside of the box and think about, well, how much time have I spent online? How much time have I spent consuming or creating content? And I mean that across all social medias. And when I mean like social media content, I don't mean like news or anything that is important for us as humans to be a part of. I mean in content like, honestly, my content at times, my commentary content is not super important. They're my opinions. I hope that nobody is spending hours on hours on hours watching my content and not talking to somebody in their real life, not touching base with somebody that they typically would touch base with. But because they're at home, they're getting caught in this social media wormhole. Because we've all caught ourselves there, whether you're a creator or not a creator. At some point, you have caught yourself, I'm sure, getting caught onto a story or a situation or a drama that has happened in the community, and you've just gone down the rabbit hole of watching everybody's opinion, trying to create your own, or you have found yourself watching things on YouTube that you didn't even know existed. Recently, I found myself spending a lot of time on YouTube trying to catch up with stuff that people were wanting me to comment on. But for me, I have to break up like the serious stuff or the stuff that people are really requesting of me really to talk about with stuff that is kind of useless, or else I'm going to resent looking or watching videos, right? And so typically what I will do is I will watch non-drama creators, whether that be typically it ends up being like makeup tutorials or raves and rejects, or favorite videos, just makeup related or nail related reviews, stuff that there could be no drama, there's nothing really to look into, it's just literally for you to consume and enjoy. But I had recently found myself in a hole of slime. I've never played with slime. I mean, I know of slime and I know it's a thing, but I didn't know that it was such a thing on YouTube. And lo and behold, it sure is. Like, there is something for everybody on YouTube. And it is very easy to get caught into these wormholes of any kind of content, any kind of genre. And I'm not saying that that is necessarily terrible, but what I'm hoping people will get out of this is to make sure that you are being self-aware of your consumption of any kind of social media. Like, most phones, or maybe it's YouTube itself, I know I have YouTube Premium, and I can go into my watch time, and that tells me how much I am watching YouTube or how much I'm on the app watching other content. And there's been days where I have been on YouTube so much, I'm like, how did I even manage to be on YouTube that much that day? Because I can recall doing a whole bunch of other stuff that day, but I still feel like I spent too much time. I don't know if that is offered if you don't have premium. I'm sure there's other apps that you can probably download to monitor your screen time, because parents want to be able to monitor their children's time online. Rightfully so, in my opinion. But I would implore that if you're watching this and you're getting to this point in the video, to maybe download one of those apps to keep yourself accountable. Maybe set a time limit on certain days. Maybe set alarms for you to check in on that elderly family member or friend to make sure that they're still doing okay. Same with the younger ones, or if you have any family members or friends that you typically talk to and you find that you're becoming distant with that person because you can't see them, reaching out to them and making that effort, because sometimes that's all it takes is one person being willing to get past the awkwardness of, hey, I haven't talked to you in like 6 months, but I really cherished our friendship. I want to reach out and make sure you're okay. Do you have some time to talk? I mean, you can do that in text message. You can do that in a phone call format. You can do it in a DM. But I really would encourage people to reach out to friends and family that maybe you had seen or talked to on a pretty regular basis, but you are acknowledging or able to see that that relationship has dwindled because you haven't been able to see them because of COVID and the stay-at-home orders. Of course, I'm not advising you to ignore whatever is being said in your state or your area or country on what to do as far as physically seeing people, but you can still have a relationship and not be seeing people in person. It just takes more effort. And I think it's so easy. Internet is so easy to consume that people are we fall into this habit of, oh, well, I'll call you later, or I'll call you tomorrow, or I'll call you next week when I'm free at this, and this time. but you are able to sit there and watch 2 hours of a YouTube channel. And I'm not meaning like because of time zone differences and things like that, it could be a decent time, but you would rather find yourself watching something and digesting whatever content than maintaining a friendship. And I don't think we are doing this intentionally, but we are doing it. I personally have had that issue happen. I told somebody, a family member of mine, I would call them back, and some YouTube drama started to happen and my subscribers were asking me to cover it. So I legitimately forgot to call my family member back for a week. And they reached out to me and they were like, hey, like you said you were gonna call, are you okay? I'm kind of worried. And like, then I felt bad, and that wasn't that person's intention at all, but it again was another reality check. Like, I need to balance being a creator and making sure I am maintaining my family and friendships outside of this, because I'm not seeing them like I used to. We can't. So I am willing to sit here and tell you guys like where I know I have failed in this, so it doesn't seem accusatory. So I am not like blaming you guys or like trying to make you feel bad or ashamed if you realize that this is stuff that you are doing. I honestly think everybody is doing it. I think because of COVID, creators are trying to create more, or they're trying to be more extravagant to keep people entertained, because YouTube has always been a place where, at least in my opinion, people come to escape. They come to see what other people are doing, see what kind of stuff is going on in other places of the world, see what kind of reviews there are, see what kind of products their favorite YouTuber, because they like their personality, what they recommend. That's kind of what YouTube has always seemed to be to me anyways. I know there's areas that are educational. I personally try to have a part of my channel be for education, but I also am aware, because I am a viewer myself, that people come here just to escape reality, just to hear other people's opinions, just to have other conversations about stuff that really doesn't matter. And it could be a majority of a number of things. It could be that you are struggling yourself and you just want something to distract you. Or you could be watching something of someone struggling with something similar you're going through to have that connection. There's multiple reasons on why people come to this platform and become, almost enthralled with it. My concern, and I know I'm starting to reiterate and repeat myself, I'm just about done. My concern is that people are not being able to acknowledge when this is starting to happen within themselves. They are not, because they're staying home or because they can't have access to people that they would typically see, they are, as a society, we are becoming reliant on these social medias to be our escape, to be where we go, to escape everything and not even think about our responsibilities, or not even really think about our family or our friends or maintaining, because we are in such a state of question. We don't know what's going to keep happening with this virus. We don't know if there's going to be a cure, and if there is, when it's going to happen. We don't know if life will ever go back to normal. We don't know if we won't have to wear masks going to a store or to a restaurant. There are just so many questions out there that are scary, and people are scared, as we should be to some degree. This is a new time in a new world almost. It seems weird to relive it. This will be in history books. And we are experiencing it firsthand and trying to figure out how to cope with it and how to move on with it. So I'm hoping that in me making this video, for anybody who sees it, my subscribers or not, really kind of take a step back. I'm not saying don't watch YouTube, of course. I'm not saying don't engage in social media. That is not my message here. My message here is just to make sure that we are limiting our ability to become obsessed. I'm not stating that people are. I'm not trying to accuse anybody of being obsessed, but I have found myself getting lost in YouTube consumption and creation during COVID. And I am somebody who has not really been fully affected as other areas in relation to COVID. I'm an essential worker, so I have maintained working this whole time. My husband is also an essential worker. So our lives were disrupted for maybe 2 weeks when COVID first happened back in February, March. Otherwise, we have been going to work as normal. We have been having some kind of normalcy to our lives, and I still found myself falling into these gaps because I know others are dealing with lockdowns. Others are dealing with stay-at-home orders. And as of this moment, it's ramping back up again. Numbers are going back up. We can all speculate as to why. That's not why I'm here. I'm really just here, and I hope this doesn't come off too preachy. I'm really just here to maybe be a little voice for you guys. To put reminders in your phone to call family, call friends, maintain those relationships, because at some point, we can't be isolated forever. We're humans. We have to have human interaction. And at some point, you are going to, I hope at least, be able to see those people again. And I don't want it to be for anybody a situation where they find themselves being alone and not having anybody because they weren't able to acknowledge when they were losing touch with friends, when they were losing touch with family. So I just implore everybody who has made it this far to try and monitor yourself and your time online and to make sure that you are still reaching out to people. Never let the internet world affect your real life. Even if you're a creator and you are making your living off of the internet, we still need time to step away and to decompress. It is not easy being a creator. There are parts of this that are super hard on everybody, and I can only imagine the larger the platform you carry, the harder these things get. And that's scary, to be honest. And I will be making a video coming out soon about the pressures that I have experienced that I haven't seen other creators talk about in building my channel and starting my channel and getting to the point I am at currently. If you are interested in a video like that, please be sure to subscribe. And if you're not and you're interested in any other kind of content, just check out my channel. I would enjoy it if you subscribe, but if you don't, I understand, and I appreciate you being here and taking the time to watch my video and hear me out. So with all of that being said, I hope you have a good day, evening, or night, wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.